In the VM host rules section, this is what is called an orchestrated restart for HA, and it allows us to make sure that VMs come up in the right order. For example, we start the database server before we start the front-end app servers. Sometimes what you will have is your application server will not operate properly if it can't communicate with the database when it starts. Of course, the database server, the SQL services on it take a lot longer to start. So if HA restarts the VMs at exactly the same moment, chances are the app server is going to start before the database is ready. So if we take a look at the monitoring tab for vSphere HA, we can see here hosts connected to primary and hosts not connected to primary. So HA, as I mentioned earlier, is not dependent on vCenter. So if your vCenter VM fails because it was on the host that died, HA still does its job. That's because it operates using an agent that was installed onto your hosts on your behalf when you enabled HA in the cluster. Those hosts will go through an election process between themselves, and they will choose a host that will become the primary, or the master as it used to be called in previous versions of vSphere. And then the other hosts will connect to that. So we have host 2 is the primary, and there is one host connected to it, which is host 1. So you'll always see one less host connected than you actually have. And you can see here all the other information about the cluster, what status the hosts are in, how many virtual machines are protected and how many are unprotected. Virtual machines will become unprotected if they are on a host which is showing an issue with vSphere HA for one reason or another. That's it for this module. Most environments won't use all of these features. Fault tolerance and enhanced vMotion compatibility in particular are used sparingly. By combining these technologies, you can optimize the performance and availability of VMs on your platform. Thanks for watching. Coming up, we move on to arguably the most important part of any virtualization infrastructure, the VMs.